Our group presentation will explore the monopoly economics and how one firm shapes the market. We'll be diving into how monopolists functions, what gives a single firm such powerful control, and how this impacts prices, consumers, and overall economy. By examining both the theory and real-world examples, we'll highlight the unique dynamics of monopoly power and its influence on market structures. A monopoly is a market structure where a single firm dominates, faces no competition, and can control prices and output. Unlike in competitive markets, monopolists are price marketers due to high entry barriers like patents or government regulations. This market power can lead to inefficiencies such as deadweight loss, although natural monopolists like utility companies may improve efficiency through economics of scale. Studying monopolies helps businesses refine pricing structures and helps consumers understand pricing effects. With companies like Google and Microsoft showing monopolistic traits, understanding monopoly behavior is increasingly relevant. This assignment explores the theories, real-world effects, and economic impact on monopolists.
Now, moving on, let's break down the theoretical framework behind how monopolies make decisions about price and output. Unlike competitive markets, a monopoly maximizes profit by producing the quantity where marginal revenue equals marginal cost, or MR equals to MC. This is a basic rule in microeconomics for profit maximization. But here's the difference. Because a monopoly faces no competition, it doesn't take the market price as given. Instead, it chooses the price based on the demand curve, meaning it can charge more than the marginal cost. This results in higher prices and lower output than competitive markets, leading to something called dead weight loss. That's the loss of potential gains for both consumers and producers, and it reflects inefficiency in the market. This framework helps us understand why monopolies are often criticized. They don't just reduce competition, they also reduce the overall welfare in the economy. Now, moving.
This slide focuses on how a monopoly makes its pricing and output decisions. The core rule they follow is marginal revenue equals marginal cost. Once the monopoly determines the optimal output level using this rule, it then sets the price based on the demand curve, meaning it changes what consumers are willing to pay for that quantity. This strategy leads to higher prices and lower output than in a competitive market, and as a result, it creates deadweight loss. So, this decision-making process isn't just about profit. It directly shapes how much is produced, how much consumers pay, and how efficiently the market functions.
Price discrimination. Monopolistic can charge different prices to extract more consumer surplus because in the competitive market, prices are directed by supply and demand, and no one can influence the price of that. A monopolist, being the sole producer of seller, has significant market power, and with that power comes the ability to manipulate prices in ways that squeeze the most value from consumers. This is where price discriminations come into play. There's many different degrees. First degree means perfect pricing per consumer. Second degree, quantity-based pricing. And lastly, third degree, consumer group pricing. In conclusion, you can tell that price discrimination is one of the big parts about monopolistic and is what really makes monopolistic stand out from the other types of markets.
Now let's take a look at barriers to entry, a key reason why monopolies like the LCBO or Canada Post are able to maintain the market power. Barriers to entry are obstacles that prevent new competitors from entering the market. In monopolies, these can take several forms. First, legal protections like patents give companies exclusive rights to produce a good, blocking others from doing the same. Then there's exclusive control over key resources. When a firm owns something essential to production, others simply can't compete. Another major barrier is economies of scale. This means that when a firm grows, its average costs go down, so large monopolies can produce more at lower costs than any new entrant could, making it financially impossible for smaller firms to compete. Together, these barriers help monopolies stay dominant and limit consumer choice by reducing competition in the market.
LCBO, government-owned retailer of liquor in Ontario. Since 1927, LCBO has been one of the largest monopoly firms in Ontario and is also controlled by the government. The government controls supply, restricts competition, and sets price on all items sold. LCBO also adjusts price to influence the demand. For example, they might set higher prices to increase government revenue. This can also help them set a minimum alcohol price to reduce excessive drinking. During holidays, they tend to set a higher price to increase revenue. These are all things you can do in a monopoly since there is no other competition to stop them from setting their prices high or lower. You can purchase certain alcohol at gas stations and grocery stores, but only light alcohol. For example, beer, hard seltzers, and wine. All of those items are able to be purchased at gas stations and other retail stores. Even though you can purchase these items elsewhere, LCBO still stays a monopoly. They remain the exclusive retailer of spirits in Ontario. They are also the only wholesaler that supplies alcohol to other retail stores. By creating at LCBO a monopoly, it helps control alcohol consumption and public safety in the community. Canada Post, the only legal provider for letter mail in Canada. Since 1981, Canada Post has become a monopoly. They have been the only provider of letter mail in Canada for 44 years now. They have become one of the biggest monopolies in Canada. The reason why they are a monopoly is to ensure that you get your mail to the right place on time. The Canadian government has ensured Canada Post is a monopoly because it can be seen as an essential service to many. Having a reliable form of communication is crucial for legal documents, personal letters, and letters from the government, and so forth. Giving access to only the government to be able to deliver mail is essential for safety reasons. You are sharing personal information that can put you at risk of danger if you share that information with the wrong person. Although they are a monopoly, many things should be privatized to improve their performance and reduce costs of delivery, many say.
Now, let's take a deeper look at how the behavior of a monopoly firm connects with other key microeconomic principles like market efficiency, consumer welfare, and resource allocation. Unlike competitive firms that produce where price equals marginal cost, monopolies set output where marginal revenue equals marginal cost. This means they charge a price greater than the marginal cost, which leads to reduced output and higher prices. This behavior causes allocative inefficiency, where resources aren't used in a way that benefits society as a whole. It also leads to what's called deadweight loss, a loss of potential transactions where consumers who would have bought the product at a lower competitive price can no longer afford it. These outcomes directly connect to broader microeconomic principles. Monopolies reduce market efficiency, harm consumer welfare, and limit effective resource allocation. They also highlight the importance of competition in promoting fair pricing and maximizing social benefit.
To conclude, monopolies operate differently from competitive markets. They maximize profit where marginal revenue equals marginal cost, but this often results in inefficiency and deadweight loss, meaning society doesn't get the most efficient outcome. They may also engage in price discrimination, charging different customers different prices to boost profits, and they often use barriers to entry to keep competitors out, which helps them maintain market power. Looking at real-world examples like LCBO or Canada Post, we see that monopolies can bring some benefits, such as consistent service, or public accountability. However, they also raise concerns around efficiency, innovation, and fairness. So, monopolies are a mix of pros and cons, valuable in some cases, but problematic in others.